As a cinematographer, I'm tired of carrying around all this gear. I'm sure you are too. Sure, you can build out small rigs, but generally there's a lot of compromises. Whether it be ditching your monitor, your recorder, your stabilizer, your audio system, your power system, the list goes on. Myself, when I generally go for a pared down rig, first thing I ditch is the gimbal, because in a run and gun scenario where you're shooting 5 to 6 pages in one day, the gimbal itself adds a lot of weight, and that just makes me as an operator less maneuverable. So in that sort of scenario, I'll just ditch the gimbal altogether. Now, there's a lot of cases where a gimbal is very useful, but like I said, in a fast-paced scenario like that, you can't be going back to the rig balancing for those very specific shots that you need them to be stable, so you'll explore other options. And that being said, I've been exploring options for a no compromises small rig. Something that is small yet stable, but doesn't sacrifice quality for its size. This, or should I say, this is not one of those rigs, but I just wanted to share with you my experience of trying to use a Phantom 4 as my only camera. Now, the day of the shoot, we went out to a park that we all live by, and we were just looking to shoot some drone footage. There's a river, forest. It looks really cool from the sky. But then, I had the great idea. Wouldn't it be cool if I tried to get some cinematic shots using the drone handheld? This was my first mistake. My second mistake comes when I had to figure out a way to monitor the whole rig when using it. Now, the drone doesn't have a monitoring system mounted to it, obviously, so I decided to use FPV goggles. I thought that would be just a great way to monitor the footage, have it right in your face. It's a sunshade. What could go wrong? Now, the FPV goggles are great for monitoring a drone in the air. Of course, you're blocking all the sun out, so you don't need to find shade to minimize reflections and glare on your screen. But when you're holding it in your hands, it is a completely different story. It's just a terrible time. There's a huge amount of lag between the drone and the headset. And I knew that going into it, but I didn't think it would be as disorienting as it was. And it was not a fun time operating that rig. On top of the input lag, you also need a second operator just to hold the controller and move the camera around, which you don't have a lot of camera control, obviously, just pan and tilt. But the goggles are plugged into the controller, and unless you mounted the controller to the drone itself, you're not going to be able to get away with not using a second person, which on the upside, you'll be even closer to your best boy, which I didn't even think was possible. And on top of all that, the fixed focal length just isn't practical at all, and I could be mistaken, but I don't think there's a workaround for that. So this is some of the footage that I shot on the day. It's not the best footage, it was just run and gun, but the image quality isn't terrible. It's not terrible, and it's pretty smooth too. So I guess that transitions nicely into the pros, which there are some pros. There's very few pros, but there are some. Pro number one, it's portable and compact. The whole thing packs down into one bag. If you're using this as your only camera, that's the only thing you have to bring out on shoot. Most drones, I believe, are 4K now, but I guess so are most cameras, so I don't really think I can hand that to the drone as a win, although it is nice. The main win, and the one that I was looking for the most, was the built-in gimbal. Like I said, in a run and gun scenario, usually the first thing I ditch is the gimbal. But if a camera system like this had a gimbal built in, which it does, then great. And it is a very stable gimbal, like stupid stable. And I guess the last pro is you can do this, which you can't do with your regular camera. As niche of a shot as it is, it's nice to be able to do. And I guess to wrap it up, of course the drone isn't meant to do this, so this list of cons isn't really anything against the design. I love the Phantom 4, but by no means should anybody try this. If it was a fun time, at least sure, I would recommend it, but it was just a hassle all around. But if you forego all my warnings about this being just an awful time, let me know how your shoot day goes, and whatever changes you made to the rig itself. I would love to hear all your stories. You can leave them down in the comments. Overall rating as a regular camera, I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 10. So definitely not recommended at all. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to stay fresh, stay hydrated, and we'll see you guys next time.